house is valued at $500,000, then the investment portion of the replacement property that is going to be used as investment property would have to be $500,000. Okay? Okay. Yes?
Say from now on next year, you said if your second home, vacation home, okay, that, you know, a seller wants to sell it, so what are their...
They're going to pay tax.
They just have to pay tax.
If somebody's going to sell a second homes have never qualified for 1031 treatment, ever. Sell a second home, you pay capital gains tax. Now, if somebody decides they don't want the second home in the mountains, they want it over here, they rent it out for a couple of years, claim it as an investment property, then do a 1031 exchange to another property closer to the ocean, rent it out for a couple of years, then make that your second home. But see, it takes 4 years to accomplish what you want to accomplish. But if you just sell it, you're going to pay your capital gains tax. It's that simple.
Could you go back to the one we were talking about earlier? Connie, could you give your example on...
Okay, my question was more about looking backwards.
Looking backward.
So I do have a situation where the owner is renting his house out. It was his primary residence.
It was his primary residence.
For 30 years.
For 30 years. Now he's renting it out.
Right.
Okay.
And as of January 1st, if he doesn't sell before then, are they going to look at the
No.
last 2 years? So it's really...
Well, no. But see, it's now an investment property for him. If he goes into 09, he might as well do a 1031 exchange into something else.
That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
But 09, when you say looking back, it's more of...
Right. Well, if he sells it by January, he could do a 1031 exchange into another property. If this goes into 9 and 10, and then he moves back into it, he's not gonna be able to collect the full 500,000 tax rate.
But if he decides to sell it next year, though, in
It's,
6 months...
he's not gonna be, he's either gonna do a 1031 exchange if he doesn't want to pay any tax at all. Right,
If
he'd
he
have to
pays
do it.
taxes, he pays the full, let's say he's getting 800,000, so he pays capital gains on that 800,000 accumulated during the...
Whatever the gain is,
Right.
whatever the gain is, he's not going to be able to take his full 500,000 or 250. Yes.
Full or any?
Pardon?
What percentage would, like, what's in that situation?
Right.
It was their primary residence for 30 years.
Right.
We moved out, rented it for 5, which goes through that January 1st date. He moved back into it for 5, and then...
If he moves back into it by January 1,
No, he doesn't. Let's say
he doesn't. He rents it out.
Years, he moves into it in 10 or 11.
Okay?
And then he decides to sell it after that. Does he get to take, 30 seconds of...
Nope.
No.
If he's rented it out after living in it for 30 years, and he rents it until 2012, and then he moves into it for 2 years and decides to sell it. The non-qualified use starting January 1, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 years out of 6 years is going to be deducted. 4/6 of the 500,000 is going to be deducted.
What happens if he owns it for 30 years, rents it for 2 years, and then goes for his primary residence and he hasn't been 5 years? Does he lose that also?
Well, first of all, we're talking, when is he doing this? If he's...
Okay, let's say that I have lived in my house for 30 years, and this December, I decided to rent it, and I rent it for 2 years.
Starting January 109, they're going to look at the non-qualified, which
So
is
he loses his
That's right.
primary resident benefit.
at least a portion of it, yes.
My understanding was that it was only effective on real estate purchase
No.
January 1st.
No.
No.
That prior to that, that's
No.
what I was instructing my clients to purchase
No.
before December 31st any rental properties.
No.
After
No.
January.
Have your client talk to their CPA, that's not right.
I have a question.
Yes.
Suppose you have a partial use of property and you sell it as a personal residence now,
within 6 months. But
When? Give me a date.
Turn it into a rental, say January 1st, and you sell it within 6 months.
6 months, it was non-qualified use, is that proration is going to be deducted.
6 months out of the 5 years.
Now, forget the 5 years. We're talking living in it for 2 years. You'd have to live in it for 2 years, sell it. And you know what? There is going to be a lot of confusion even among CPAs. So I think you need to talk to the CPA. And you had a question.
What is the current food rate?
Pardon?
What is the current food rate?
Oh, you're asking me what the capital gains tax rate is. What the capital gains tax, you know, you do what I do. The CPA or the tax preparer that filed the tax return has to figure it out. Depreciation is taxed at a different rate. Everybody's in a different tax bracket. You know, there's offsetting capital losses, so I can't tell you what it is because I don't know what tax somebody's going to end up paying at the end of the day.
No, there's a capital gains rate.
Is that considered as a capital gain?
You know what? I would just caution you to not discuss tax rates with your clients. Because I'm telling you, when they get down to doing it, it could be totally different than we think it's going to be. Yes?
I know we need to talk about tax first, but we need to remember 2 out of 5 years, the 5-year rule, I don't think that's the one that's changing. 5 years for use, for 5 years,
Okay.
that's 5. That's not changing. That's what needs to actually happen.
it's what she said.
But you're talking about primary residence, too.
Primary for if you're converting, it's all about, what I'm saying, 5-year rule is very, yeah.
Okay. Like I said, you asked the same question at 10 CPAs, you're going to get 10 different answers. So, did you guys all pass your card to the end?
Yes.
Did you? Thank you so much. And I would love to
Thank
come
you.
back